Okay, so I'm going to fit a rear hugger to Alpine 6. Normally, fitting a hugger, you'd fit the hugger on top of the seat stay. Two problems on the Alpine 6 is, one is the seat stay very low angled, so the hugger sits way up high here, and secondly, the seat stays are curved. So by modifying the mudguard, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, we're actually going to sit the hugger down inside of the swing arm, down in here, and then we can actually get it to sit pretty much just off the tyre, exactly where we want it to. So what I've done, I've removed the foot of the hugger all the way up to here and just left a tiny bit of it where that's going to rest on the top of the swing arm. And that's important because that stops this part of the mudguard sliding down right inside the stay, down in here, when you're going over the jumps and drops. I removed that by using a cutting tool to take the bit of plastic off, and then just trimmed it off with a craft knife. Alternatively, you could use like a Dremel to grind it off, but that's a fairly slow process. I've done that before. Or if worse comes to worse, you could always score it with a Stanley knife, and then actually use a wood chisel or even a flat-headed screwdriver and knock the bits of the foot off. It takes a bit of time, but this fix really does work. So the first thing we need to do is decide where we're going to put the protective heli tape to protect the paint and the aluminium from the hugger being fitted here. So just literally going to rest the hugger on the tyre, pull it back so that it's sitting about 8mm from the top of the tread inside here, and then mark up on the top of the stay here with a pencil just where I'm going to start wrapping the heli tape, and this will go in one piece all the way down there. And once we've taken the hugger off, we can wrap the heli tape round and back up on itself. So if you haven't used heli tape before, it's just a clear protective film. This is on a white backing, and you see the clear plastic there, and using a hairdryer will make your job 1,000 times easier. So there you go, that's the heli tape done. A bit tricky, one-handed, but you get the idea. Job done. Okay, so now both sides are done. I'm going to actually install the hugger. So these two go through the hole at the top. I'm just going to loosely put that in place there. Same on the other side. You can see, well, you probably can't actually, but the protective tape is all the way up to here, so we've got plenty of movement. We can move the mudguard up, but we've got to be careful. We don't want it too close to the seat post here, otherwise on full compression it's going to hit. So I like to just set this so I can just about get my fingertips underneath between the tyre and the inside of the hugger here, and then we're going to set the height at the back here when we put the back two zip ties in place, and you can see it's going to sit fairly close to the tyre once I get that finally adjusted. So once I've got that pretty much in the position where I want it in terms of being off the tyre here, Then the last piece of the puzzle for this one is that I'm going to cut a couple of little slots with a craft knife into the hugger here, and one further back. I'm going to have 2 zip ties here, and that will just stop the zip ties slipping off the hugger, because obviously this is curved. These seat stays are curved and also go narrow as well, so the last thing you want is for the zip ties to be sliding back, because the hugger will just go completely loose and sit on your tyre and you'll have a bad day. Now again, just going to loosely put these on. These haven't got to go through any holes, so you can be pretty quick with this. There should be roughly plenty of scope there to move it around. And the same on this one. Make sure I get the right way around. And then we do the same on the other side. And because we've got those 2 little notches cut in there, once those are tightened up, those won't be able to slip on the hugger. Okay, so it's pretty much sitting on the tyre here now. I can just about pick up the wheel and turn it, but it is literally sitting on there. So like I said, I want to pull this part here. I'm going to move it back. Come back here. Just so I can get my fingers underneath there. Spin the wheel now. There's no friction at all. And it's just a case of tightening up all the zip ties. And here in this one, because that's going to be quite a high pressure point, I'm actually going to use a little bit of old inner tube, and I'm just going to slot that between the heli tape and the mudguard, just to give that some more protection there. I reckon that's going to wear through the heli tape pretty quick if we're not careful, and I'm going to have to keep an eye on that, because once it goes through the rubber, obviously it's going to go through the heli tape and then through the paint and into your metal. So if I find a better way of doing that, I'll update that. Oh, and another tip, particularly this time of year with the cold temperatures, if you heat up the heli tape before you tighten it up, it actually makes it that little bit softer, just like it would in the summer if you were doing the summer, and the zip ties actually bite into the heli tape. Particularly important on these days because they go narrower down here, so you want them to bite in so they can't slip down. So by heating up with the hairdryer, it prevents that happening. I'm just going to pull these up by hand. There's plenty here to grip onto. I'm going to tighten them up again in a minute with the pliers, but this just gets it into that last position before the final, and I'm going to heat up here, around here, with the hairdryer, just to make that a bit soft and chewy, and then they'll dig in more. Obviously make sure it's over the centre of the tyre at the back here, so you'll need to look at the back, and you might need to just twist it a little bit backwards or forwards like that, just to get the perfect position at the back. And all that remains to do is snip off the zip ties. There, job done. Absolutely rock solid, really good fitting.